Here, we're going to get started in just a minute. Hey, Lauren. All right. Let's go ahead and get started gingerly. All right. So, retaining injectable patients. All right. It's all too common that I hear from med spas, right? That you're excited to get these new injectable patients in the door. They come in, they're happy, they love their provider, right? They promise to return to you, and poof, never do you see them again, right? And immediately after, I hear from injectors, well, they're group honors, maybe they're price shoppers, they're unqualified, broke leads, they're cheap, right? They're not who we want to be working with. I've heard it all too often. But let me ask you, right? Have you done your part? Because there are a few bad apples, right? But by and large, these patients are going somewhere to get their injectables, right? So are we doing everything in our control to really retain our unfair share of the injectable market? So today I'm going to be sharing with you strategies that the top aesthetic practices and injectors use to get their injectable patients to rebook and to spend more without feeling salesy. Okay, so I want to backtrack here for a second. Stay with me here. Some quick stats that the cost of acquiring a new patient is 5 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. That's why it's so important that we do everything possible to retain as many of these injectable patients as possible. Now let's break that down a little bit, okay? The industry average for a new injectable patient is anywhere between $250 to $500 for a new patient. Now that's on the low to mid range. There are some people out there that will pay anywhere between $500 to $1,500 for a new patient, right? In some of the more competitive markets. Now to break that down even further, right, on what the actual cost to acquire a patient looks like. So let's look at cost per lead for injectables. Anywhere between, 25 to $50, right? Again, depending on how competitive it is. And let's say your conversion rate is 20 to 40%. So that means that you need 2 to 5 leads to get one booked appointment, right? And that's really going to be determined by what your ad spend budget is on how many new patients you want in the door. Now, if you look at SEO and content marketing, right, that can cost you anywhere between, 1,000 plus to multiple thousands of dollars a month. Then we look at referrals and loyalty, which are the juicy, dreamy clients that we love. And maybe you give, a $50 to $150, referral or discount for these new patients and to the person referring you. But the volume is lower, right? And we can't just rely on that. So instead of just focusing on acquiring new patients, a strong retention strategy really helps to ensure that they come back 3 to 4 times per year, right? Turning that 250 to 500 plus client acquisition cost into 3, 4, 5 plus tens of thousands of dollars that is coming in your med spa. So the bottom line is the goal should be maximize your retention, and that's going to help you to reduce your long-term marketing costs and ultimately increase your profits. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we do that? Very simply, right? First and foremost, you gotta track your numbers. So with your injectors, you want to know what is their average revenue per hour? What are their rebooking rates? Those are 2 very important metrics that you need to be tracking. The next thing that you need to do is you have to have an orchestrated patient journey, and you need to stand out, right? This is going to help that your patients and your team members know what you want them to be doing, right? So once you have that orchestrated patient journey and you've really been intentional about how you want to stand out, you got to train your team, and then you got to train your patients on what to do. So now I want to break that down even further. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty of what that looks like. What does it mean to train your team and to train your patients to increase your rebooking rates, to increase your average revenue per hour? All right, so first and foremost, you need to educate patients on the importance of maintenance, right? This is not a one and done treatment that you never have to get, redone or touched up. So it's very important that you set expectations on that very first appointment. You got to show them a timeline. You have to explain how Botox fades in 3 to 4 months, how filler in 6 to 18 months, at best, right, with consistency will begin to dissolve and fade. So it's really important that you use before and after photos to demonstrate what those long-term results are going to look like for them. And you got to educate them on how, muscle memory for neuromodulators and collagen depletion for fillers is going to impact the look that they are trying to achieve and to maintain. The next thing is you gotta get personal, okay? Guys, patients, they don't just stay for results. They also stay for how they feel in your chair. So you don't want to just be turning and burning through people, all right? You got to get personal with them, and that's really going to help them to be loyal to you. MJ, one of my consultants here, are you on this call? If you are, join us right now, because I'd love for you to share how to stand out, how to get personal with the signature treatments that you've helped so many of our clients create in their practices. Are you here,
Yeah,
MJ?
absolutely. I am here. Hi. Caitlin, you really did say it best. Are we and our clients doing everything in our power and in our control to ultimately retain these injectable patients? In a competitive market, which we all know we are all in, having this signature treatment or signature method is really ultimately the key to standing out. It is this unique offering that you can provide that's really going to define your brand and really distinguishes you from the others. There might be med spas, there might be 10 med spas within a 5 to 8 mile radius of you. So how are you standing out? And the best way to do that is with a signature method. A well-crafted signature method is really going to justify higher pricing. So when a client understands the value of your specialized approach, they perceive it as an investment in their ultimate well-being or in to reach their aesthetic goals. It also is going to build very strong client loyalty. So a signature method not only attracts these patients, but it also keeps them coming back. It creates an exclusive experience that patients cannot find anywhere else. It really fosters that long-term relationship and repeat business. And this is a method that I really, really believe in. I train my clients all the time. I want you to hone in on your expertise. Is it extra measures that you take for safety? Is it solution-based methods? What is your UVP? And really hone in on that. Trademark it, and that's going to help you foster those long-term relationships and keep retaining these patients.
I love that, because it also helps take some of the thinking out for maybe some of our less experienced injectors that may not even know that they're under treating, right? Or allowing the patient to dictate their treatment plan when they say, oh, just give me my 20 units, or I just want the half syringe or even one syringe, when she really needs like 4 syringes, right? When she showed you the picture that she's looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. And it removes decision fatigue from the patient. So ultimately, It's overwhelming if they are not well educated on what these services are, if they don't know the difference between Botox, a biostimulator, filler, that itself is overwhelming. So providing them like these signature methods where it takes the decision making and kind of learning curve out of it really streamlines and creates those high ticket sales.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, MJ. All right, guys, another strategy is that we always want to make sure that we rebook them before they leave. You should be going after at least an 80% rebooking rate. So first and foremost, if you're not tracking rebooking, start tracking rebooking right away. And just by it being like front and center on your mind, you're going to see an increase in the scheduling utilization just by tracking that metric, right? And then you take that to the next level by training your team and providing them with scripts and expectations of hitting rebooking rates, right? That is going to really move the needle. So with your staff, you want to equip them with what they should be saying, both the provider and the front desk, right? So let's lock in your next visit so you don't, miss a beat, right? Create urgency. We fill up fast. Let's get you scheduled now. And you can also utilize other tools to help providers in your front desk to have vehicles to get patients to commit to a schedule. So for example, memberships, loyalty programs, if they are recognized as a VIP and they get priority booking, right? Referral programs, personal touches with birthday discounts, handwritten notes. These are the little things, the tools that you can use that is absolutely going to increase your rebooking rates and your average revenue per hour for injectables. And these are things that you need to be training your team on and holding them accountable at the end of the day. You also need to make sure that you have a standardized follow-up and reminder system. And a lot of these things can either be automated or customized. So for example, you could have automated reminders at 90-day or maybe 120-day intervals, or do it client by client, right? Based on the treatment plan that the provider made with them. You can automate those reminders, schedule workflows to automatically follow up with them for both your neurotoxins and fillers. And it's so powerful because you think about it. Let's say that, you have 100 Botox patients and each, half of those Botox patients miss out on one of their intervals because life got busy. They forgot. We didn't ask. And on average, they spend, let's just say, $500 every time that they come in, right? 50 times 500. Sorry, I'm not a math whiz. That's 25 grand that could have been in your practice, right? And that's really like a bare minimum. That's not even adding in, fillers or biostimulators or devices or medical grade skincare. We are leaving so many dollars on the table by not being more intentional about our rebooking systems. And so we're relying way too much on marketing, right, for our growth when we could just be doing a better job with the patients we have, right? Let's continue on with upselling and cross-selling. So this is where you need to track revenue per hour for your injectors. And actually, MJ, since you're here, I want to bring you back in, and I'd love for you to share what are some good revenue per hour targets that you like to see, and break it down a little bit for a new injector to an experienced injector, where you want to see them starting off and how you can support and push them to grow to hit those higher level targets.
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts on a really granular level, like you're saying, tracking them per hour. But I like to expand a little bit and understand what I want them to start pulling in per month. So a new injector starting out, I'm seeing anywhere from $30 to $40,000 a month. A really strong injector should be bringing in anywhere from $80 to $140,000 for you a month. And that is a skilled injector who has nailed their consultation process. Per hour for a newer injector, I would say anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 for a newer injector. That's them really focusing on those higher ticket sales. For a skilled injector, it should be anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500 an hour.
Okay, so let's just say someone that's watching or listening, whether it's the owner, the practice manager, or the injector, and they're like, I'm not there yet, right? What are some common support, training, right, that conversations that you are having with injectors to get them to that next level?
Yeah, absolutely. So even with my most seasoned injectors, you always have to start with foundation. You have to start with consultation training because I think even if you're experienced and seasoned, you can get very jaded in how your consultation flow is. You need to be a lifelong learner in this industry. You can absorb new information daily. I know I do. So starting with the foundation, even if you're seasoned of over 15 years and really honing in on your consultation, touching up your discovery questions, making sure that your treatment plans are polished and you're giving out $10,000 to $15,000 treatment plans. So starting there with foundational knowledge is paramount, regardless if they're just starting off or if they're seasoned.
I think that's so great. And because oftentimes your injectors are coming to you wanting you to invest tens of thousands of dollars and going to this big fancy, training with this famous injector. And I'm not knocking those. Those are great. Those are a time and a place for sure. But if you don't have that consultation down on lock, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you know the new fangled, technique that the celebrity injectors are doing, you got to start with the basics.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite thing when I was still running practices to do, if I did get a request in that way, because continued education is so important, but I would hold them accountable to their KPIs. If you can hit your KPI goal for the next 90 days, then I will send you and I will invest in your continued education. But you need to show me that you are willing to hustle and put in the work so that way we can send you to get more knowledge.
Absolutely. And there's so much free training out there, as you said. In fact, if you comment 99, we'll send you our free training, 99 revenue generating activities that you should be doing when there are gaps in your schedule. We haven't broken down by position. So whether you're an injector, a front desk, a practice manager, comment 99 and we'll be sure to send you our free training, 99 revenue generating activities that you could be doing when you have downtime, right? That's gonna make you better. That's gonna increase your rebooking rates. That's gonna get more patients on your schedule and going to increase revenue per hour at the end of the day. All right, guys, so let's just recap real quick. First and foremost, you gotta track your numbers. You gotta know your numbers. You can't just go off of feel. I think they do a good job. I think they ask them to rebook. I think they get good results. You have to look at the numbers at the end of the day. And I love for your team to get involved in inputting their own numbers as well and really having ownership of finding them, knowing them, and then working to improve those results as well. You have to be very intentional about the patient journey. What do you want them to know before they show up for their appointment? What do you want them to know during their appointment? What do you want them to know when they check out? What do you want them to know when they go home? It's so important that you map that out, that you orchestrate that so that everyone on your team, start to finish, knows their role and responsibility in the patient journey. Okay. You want to make sure that you're standing out and being different. If you don't want to have to compete on price, then you have to tell people what makes you different and special. And you also have to have proof, right? You have video testimonials. You got to be on camera educating about it. You have to have amazing before and after pictures. That's going to help you to stand out, be and get loyal patients at the end of the day. And you got to train your team. You can't just tell them, hey, I want us to do a better job rebooking. Hey, we have to retain more of our new patients coming in. Too many are slipping through the cracks. It is your responsibility as a leader to really break that down to the nth degree, right? And do everything possible to set your team member up for success and have a solid process, meaning you have, an input, a process, an output, and then a feedback loop. And those are the four important elements to having a really strong system in place. And that's going to give you a better result. So not only are you training your team, but you're training your patients on exactly what you want them to do. I can't tell you how many med spas that I have gone to over the years that allow me to dictate my own treatment plan. They don't know who I am and what I do and what my knowledge is. But regardless of that, I still, as a patient, want a provider that tells me what to do, right? And even with my knowledge and background. So imagine, the patient that doesn't have my knowledge, right? If you're not telling them what they should be doing, then they're relying on their own knowledge and you're leaving so much revenue on the table. You're leaving them with potentially being undertreated and not getting the full experience or result that they could potentially have, right? So take these strategies and put them into action, and I promise you that you will see your rebooking rates just skyrocket. You are going to see your injectors revenue per hour, their monthly revenue just really soar and take off. And ultimately, when you improve those two metrics, rebooking rates and revenue per hour, you are going to see your practice revenue really, really climb and hit those growth goals that you are after. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. What are some other creative ways I can get my injector to hit those revenue per hour? So I really encourage you to comment 99 and we'll give you that free training on 99 revenue generating activities that they could be doing to increase rebooking rates and revenue. But, just right off the top of my head is they need to show up more prepared for their appointments during the day, right? So instead of just like showing up and walking in and be like, what are you here today, right? They need to go through their patient history and see what have they done, what have they been talked about to add in additional service mixes, right? You need to have touch points in between those appointments to see how things are going and to get them in sooner than later. They need to be utilizing the before and after pictures to show them where they're at in their journey to help keep them on that treatment plan and continue to add to it as they come in as well, just to name a few. Another question that came in is, how do people track revenue per hour for a specific injector? So a lot of your EMRs should be able to track your revenue per hour. You may have to, go up a level in your EMR system, but at the end of the day, if you're not able to do that, then you got to do it old school and create an Excel spreadsheet. That's something that our consultants can help you with. If you are a diamond client, talk to us about that and we can help analyze what technology you have to see what's possible, because at the end of the day, we want to keep things as simple as possible. But if your technology doesn't do it, it's a really important metric as you are creating your KPIs and your benchmarks. We have different Excel, spreadsheets that we could share with you to be able to customize it and input those different numbers to, begin tracking that. And we really also, yes, the practice manager should lead it and hold accountable, but I find that we find it difficult sometimes to hold your injectors accountable for tracking their own numbers, but the more ownership they have over that, the more intentional they're going to get with every minute of their day. So we actually think that that is a really great thing. All right, guys, any other questions before we wrap up? Any other questions? Hey, Kristen. Hey, Jovan. Hey, Bergen. Thanks for joining us here live, guys. All right. If you love this training, make sure you share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. And you can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you tune in every single Wednesday, same time, same place. Catch us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. And make sure that you comment 99 and we'll send you our free training on 99 revenue generating activities that you could be doing to be able to fill up your schedule when you have gaps and downtime. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. And I'll stay on if anyone needs to talk to me or has a question, regardless if it's outside of this training or not. So thanks so much, guys.